Tonight, the President, under the veil of one of the most sacred deliberative forums, a joint session of Congress, delivered yet one more political speech where he doubled down on more of the same policies that are killing the United States economy. Mr. President, what among your proposals was new? What hasn't already been tried and failed before? While the President's speech comes on the heels of $1 trillion of failed stimulus, bailouts, and temporary gimmicks that have been aimed at creating jobs, the President continued to cling to the idea that government is the solution to creating jobs. My conservative colleagues and I have been fighting over the last 2.5 years for pro-growth policies. And I stand here tonight to say to the President, not only should Congress not pass his plan, I say, Mr. President, stop. Your last plan hasn't worked and is hurting the American economy. Instead of temporary fixes, do what has worked in the past. Permanent, pro-growth policies that are driven by the free market. Today, unemployment remains at a staggering 9.1%. Job creation has literally been zeroed out with the worst jobs report in 66 years given this last month. And since the President's failed $1 trillion stimulus, we have lost over 2.5 million jobs, while we've added 416,000 government jobs. 1 in 6 Americans is now on food stamps. The average unemployed Americans are out of work is greater than 40 weeks. Housing values have fallen 19% from 2008 to the first quarter of this year. GDP growth was an anemic 0.4% in the first quarter and rounded down to 1% in the last. And the dollar has now lost 12% of its value. These are not good times for the American people. Our patience for speeches, gimmicks, and excuses has clearly run out. The only remedies the President knows are temporary government-directed fixes. And even if the President's plan passes, we already know it will fail in practice. We haven't paid for his last $1 trillion jobs program. And now his latest program would have us embrace potentially, we are told, over $400 billion in new government spending, and no one knows where that money will come from. Spending tax dollars on extending unemployment benefits has proved to add only 25 cents to GDP for every dollar that we spend. Even the President's new economic advisor agrees extending unemployment benefits discourages future employment. Spending tax dollars on extending the payroll tax holiday reduced over $111 billion to the Social Security Trust Fund this year, and continuation of this policy will put Social Security checks to senior citizens at even greater risk. Spending taxpayer dollars on more infrastructure projects failed to create lasting jobs in the last stimulus. And looming on the horizon is the full-scale implementation of Obamacare that, according to the Congressional Budget Office, will kill upwards of 800,000 jobs and steal over $500 billion away from Medicare. Candidate Obama promised he would wipe out deficits in the debt. Instead, the President has increased our debt by over $6 trillion. And what do we have to show for it? Permanent increases in the size of government, in government spending, and in government debt, with a greater dependency on government. 4 years ago, President Bush's deficit was around $160 billion. Today, President Obama's deficit is nearly 10 times that amount. The President and Vice President's plan to spend us to prosperity has clearly failed the American people. And worse, they have stolen from a generation of Americans who are yet unborn, the consequences of which mean a near certainty of reduced choices and a dramatically downsized lifestyle for future generations from what we enjoy today.